This is Dana Samuelson with the American Gold Exchange. You're listening to the Average Joe Finances Podcast with Mike Cavagioni.
If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you smash the like and subscribe buttons. If you're listening to our podcast, go leave us a 5-star review. All of our links can be found in the video description or show notes below. Hey, welcome back to the Average Joe Finances Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Cavagioni, and today's guest is Ben Reinberg. So Ben, super excited to have you on your show and talk about your book. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Mike. I look forward to chatting with you today and adding a lot of value to you
absolutely.
and your audience. So let's do it.
Yeah, heck yeah, let's do it. Ben, let's kick this off the same way we start every podcast episode. And we want to know more about you. So can you share a little bit about yourself and tell us your story? Who is Ben Reinberg?
Well, Mike, I'm a commercial real estate investor. I've been investing in commercial real estate. My company's been around for over 3 decades. I've been in the business for 32 years. And I become a commercial real estate expert. I am an office, industrial, retail. We just opened a multifamily division about a year ago. We do hard money lending as well. So I am a commercial real estate guru, one of the largest medical office owners in the United States as well. That's a huge niche of ours. And I'm a fiduciary of capital. So we raise money from high net worth credit investors, family offices, et cetera, that invest in our deals. They invest throughout the United States. And at the end of the day, that's my expertise. And so when I wrote the book, Hard Assets and Hard Money for Hard Times, it was really reflecting back on my career. It wasn't written for me. It was written for you, the audience. And I didn't need to write the book, but I wanted to, because every day, Mike, I've been asked to look at someone's portfolio, ask about how do I invest in commercial real estate? How do I invest with Alliance, your company? Give me some feedback on an investment. And it was constantly being asked of me for years and years. I said, so let's write a book about how do you build a hard asset empire like I have and some of my colleagues. And so I quickly learned, Mike, that most people don't understand how to build generational wealth. And I felt compelled that they don't understand assets and money and time, and they're all tools, and time is your biggest asset that you have. And so I teach all this. So in the book, we talk about how to build a hard asset empire. We include for free. You can get on my website, benreinberg.com. You get in the book, there's a hard asset blueprint. It's a step-by-step blueprint of how to put together a hard asset empire. And I talk about it. I talk about lessons along the way to help people get higher in the learning curve of not to do certain things. And I've learned the hard way. And it's interesting because being a leader in the medical office, commercial real estate space, I was surprised how many doctors don't understand how to invest in medical. So it helps spur in the book. And I realized I need to take another step and teach people how to build this hard asset empire. So the hard asset empire is where someone can generate, retain, define, and compound their wealth. And I teach people, it's a vehicle to help people build and create generational wealth for their families. So it's never been done before. It's never been written like this. I wanted a book that had a blueprint, but I wanted it where someone that was Ben Reinberg 32 years ago getting started, like some of your audience might be, all the way to a billionaire is going to use this book. They'll be able to pull it off the bookshelf on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, take a look at their blueprint and say, what do I need to amend? What do I need to change, improve? What do I need to expand on? Or what do I need to defend? That's kind of has a lot of liability behind it. The Hard Asset Empire Blueprint is a great tool for anyone out there. And I made it real simple, but yet really powerful. And it's personalized, it's revisable snapshot of where your life is at and where it will consistently be at. And so pictures are worth 1,000 words. I'm a visual guy. I wanted to have where you can keep it for future generations and build on top of what the foundation you built today or tomorrow and for generations to come. And there's a lot of lessons that came out of entrepreneurship and real estate with people. And so I'm really excited about the book. We also have coursework that you could do after you read the book to bring the book to life. So I wanted to go a step further for the audience that's reading the book and say, okay, I read the book, but now I want to take action. All right, I'm going to even unpeel the onion, really expand your knowledge in 4 different level courses that you could take to see how far you want to take it.
Awesome. Ben, real quick, there's a lot of different niches that you can get into when it comes to real estate, right? So what made you decide to go down the commercial route, specifically the medical office field?
Well, commercial real estate, being from Chicago, that's where my headquarters are. I realized, Mike, that in the commercial real estate realm, there's a great opportunity to build wealth. All the wealthiest families throughout the world have invested in hard assets, specifically commercial real estate. And so I knew that, and I said, well, that's the case. That's the space I want to be in. I want to play where the big players are playing, where the big numbers are. And so that's how I picked the niche. And being from Chicago, there's a lot of commercial real estate between office, industrial, retail, multifamily, you name it, self-storage, hotels. And so I said, that's the space I want to play in. I got into the medical office space because 22 to 23 years ago, Mike, I realized that general office was, especially in the suburbs, was a dying product. People were downsizing. I think we saw with COVID, people are working from home. Zoom became more prevalent with Microsoft Teams as well, Google Meet. I mean, everyone is working from home now. I'm still working in an office, but all my employees are scattered throughout the United States. Some have home offices, some are working in satellite offices. I'm in our West Coast office. I have a staff in our Chicago headquarters. So we're all over the place. And what I realized was, how am I going to bring people together and create a community, which we've been doing outstanding the last 5 years with this remote hybrid workforce. So for me, what I realized was medical office was key, because to pivot 23 years ago, my 32-year career, to say general office, because I thought I was going to buy skyscrapers. I thought it was going to be the next Sam's out. We were buying office campuses, and I was really bullish on it. And I realized that people didn't need as much office space. So it was a really tough niche. And that in the environment today, there's a lot of vacancy in general office. So we talked about with our investor and said, well, the human body is never going out of style. So if the human body is never going out of style, why wouldn't I focus on medical office? We doubled down, went on a learning curve. It's a very unique product, and it's been extremely profitable. It's been a great investment vehicle for our investors all over the world.
Yeah, that's fair. With everything that's changed, especially since COVID, I would think that is still something that's remained very strong, right? And if you look at where we're at with technology in general, right, with, AI is now becoming very prevalent in everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you and I are having this call thousands of miles away from each other over Zoom, which is pretty amazing, right? So I feel like there's some of these breakthroughs that have been absolutely fantastic, but you don't really think about what does that change on the back end, right? So like the fact that we're having this conversation means that you didn't have to fly out to Hawaii, or I didn't have to fly out to you to sit here and do this podcast interview. So it's changed the dynamics a bit, right? And then that's not really something you think about too much, right? With more people working from home, less office space being utilized, what's the best way to try to utilize some of that vacant space? Right?
Yeah, and that's a real question. I mean,
think.
yeah, it's tough. You have to buy these office buildings, especially in this environment, really low basis, and charge cheap rent to attract people. And it's a tough asset class. I was sitting in Chicago with one of our investment sales brokers, one of my closest friends. And he said, look at this building, this building, this building. These are 60, 90, 80 floors in a building, huge buildings, skyscrapers, 40% vacancy, 30%, 50. I mean, that's a lot of space to fill going on in a building. And so I feel for that office product, it's changed, but a lot of people are heading back to the office, and I don't blame them, because I don't like not working in an office. I'm very old school. And I think a lot of the younger generation want a community. They want that bonding. They want that culture and that community. And so
100%.
we figured it out here how to deal with it. It's interesting because you brought up AI, and AI is something we've adopted about 2 years ago. We're very ahead of the curve on it. And it's interesting because commercial real estate, and you probably know this, has been historically slow to adapt new technologies because it's a relationship driven nature business and
Sure.
the complexity of deal structuring. So technology coming into that type of structure is not easy. However, AI is changing that. And my company Alliance went all in on retooling our entire operation on a multi-year strategy with a custom built enterprise AI agent system, which I'm proud of. And so we're looking at AI, Mike, for underwriting. We're using the tools for underwriting, asset management, and market analysis as a competitive advantage for speed and for accuracy. And that's important to note because AI excels in predictive analytics and risk assessment and automation. And we're going to use AI to analyze market trends. We're forecasting property valuations. We're automating offer letter scoring, saying, are we going to go after this property? Maybe it's not a fit for us. So it's able to judge what properties fit our acquisition criteria, which is phenomenal. It's really a time saver. And we're identifying emerging markets and investment opportunities to go out there and before they hit mainstream and really have competitive advantage. So AI-driven automation improves operational efficiencies, which is really important to us with our management company. It's lease abstraction and tenant screening and maintenance scheduling. All these do is save time and reduces errors. So I'm excited about AI. I think it's great. And here's the thing for everyone to know, especially if you're younger, because we retooled our entire operation and integrated human intelligence with AI solutions. And part of that was I knew my strategy needed to be a multi-year strategy. And I knew it needed high-level people to be in the company. And so what did we do? We said, okay, well, we're going to bring in a head of AI, a chief AI officer. We're going to bring in a chief of staff. We need someone to talk to our staff and how AI is going to be integrated and how it's going to affect them, because people think they're going to lose their job. And we upgrade many of our systems around the country. And we basically decided we're going to provide deep level learning to our staff and our leadership team. And so this allowed Alliance to grow our technology solutions while also providing soft skill development in the company. And we wanted to provide a growth roadmap for all our people. And so it's really exciting what we're doing with AI. And so we've done some incredible things over the last handful of years with it. And it's interesting, Mike, because I get asked this question all the time saying, as a CEO and as a founder, do you need to know everything? Do you need to be that 7-tool player of, I got to understand AI, I got to master this, I got to master this? And I'm going to tell everyone, especially some of the younger folks listening, is that you don't need to have all the answers. What you have to do is bring in amazing talents and delegate. And that's what we do. And that's how you're going to grow and scale your business.
I feel like that's applicable to just about anything out there, like any business, right? It's not about, you don't have to know everything, but you do need to know how to delegate, for one. And for two, you need to make sure you're delegating it to the right person, right? You can't just bring anybody in and say, hey, you're going to be my new chief AI officer, right? You want somebody that actually knows what they're doing. So I think, Ben, that is huge. And I feel like when you're looking at implementing AI into your business and what you've already done over the last 2 years, I feel like that is giving you a leg up. But do you ever think about any potential negative impacts from that? Do you ever think about maybe the AI can make a mistake? Yeah, AI might be smarter than your average human, right? But sometimes that human touch might be necessary. So do you have like metrics in place to the product that the AI spits out?
Yeah, I mean, you have to monitor it, and whatever the input is will generate the output, right? So if we're going to input a property, whoever's putting in that property data or the AI is reading it, they better make sure that document's accurate. So there is portions of the human error, but what's interesting is that in certain parts of AI, it's constantly learning and improving. And so there's an AI bet out there. You can go out to our website and you can type in whatever business question or commercial real estate. It's constantly learning and improving, which is really interesting how that works. You have to have people monitoring it and assisting it and feeding it and nurturing it. And it's a process, and everyone knows we're just learning. We're just getting started. This technology is going to get better and better. And there's operational efficiencies where we will need less people for certain sections. We're looking at doing HR through AI, where you can take a video and train your employees, which is going to be really cool. And
Awesome.
I'm very excited about technology. I think it's a I think, like, again, one thing, Mike, and I'm sure you understand this, is that the human element of commercial real estate will never go away. It's a relationship business.
Right.
I teach people to pick up the phone. I'm a phone guy. I see people sending too many texts and too many emails and not really building a relationship with the other side of the transaction. And it hurts them because our deals are complicated enough in commercial real estate and they go on for a while, that if you're not building rapport and you're not communicating properly, it doesn't matter what technology you have, the deal's going to die.
Yeah, no, that's a key point. And it's one of the things I talk about too, when you're building anything, is that the relationship side, right? When you're networking with people, you don't want to treat them like a number. You actually want to get to know them, build that rapport, right? Build that relationship, because they're going to remember you the next time you call them and say, hey, I've got a deal you might be interested in investing in, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to say, okay, this person's real. Like they actually care. They pay attention to what we talk about. And that, another thing I tell people, and I was talking to another podcast guest about this last week, is like, we have these wonderful CRM systems in our pocket called a cell phone.
Yeah.
And on that, when you save someone's contact info, there's a little section there for notes. Put some notes in there about something you remembered from the conversation that you guys had, right? It's just one of those things, little things like that, when you can bring up something that you spoke about in the past that really builds that relationship and it starts building that trust, right? Mm-hmm. Trust is another big thing, especially there's something you mentioned earlier, right? With what you do, you're a fiduciary, right? You are a fiduciary of those investors that invest with you. So you want them to build up that trust with you because you want them to know that their money's going to be in good hands. So I feel like it's a very important thing.
And it's why I wrote the book, because I said to people, say to me, Mike, all the time, like, why do hard assets matter? And I tell them, like, in a world of uncertainty, economic volatility and inflation and geopolitical things that go on in our world, as you're aware of, make traditional investments riskier than ever. And so hard assets provide stability, predictability, and long-term wealth. And that's what we do, both of us. And so it's the age-old wealth formula. I mean, throughout history, and I can tell everyone listening, the wealthiest individuals and family secure their legacies through hard assets. That's a fact. Like real estate, precious metals, private lending opportunities, artwork, you name it. And the problem today, what I figured out, I said, well, what's really going on with this? Well, no one's provided a roadmap of how to build their own empire of hard assets. And I said, well, that's what I'm going to do, because I'm going to give them the methodology and a strategy and a blueprint to do it. And that's where the book comes in. And so the blueprint is so important because it's a unique visual framework that simplifies complex financial concepts that people just don't want to learn or get their arms on it. And I create actionable steps that build, grow, and protect your wealth. I thought that was really important. And then I wanted to make it for everyone, like I said before, whether you're a aspiring investor, a seasoned professional, it will give you the tools to diversify and secure your portfolio. That was important to me. And then for everyone out there listening, I wanted to empower independence. I'm a big independence guy. So I said, how can I inspire you to do this? And I said, well, the methodology allows readers to take control of their financial destiny rather than rely on typical financial advisors or uncertain markets, or you want to be employee. So why should you read this book? Okay, why did I write this for you? Well, it's a crisis-ready strategy. If you're going through a crisis or you're concerned or you're wondering, how am I going to make money? It's designed to help readers weather economic downturns, bank collapses, market crashes, and learn how to produce income-generating assets. And so I personalized the roadmap. It's not a theory. It's been tested by me and all my colleagues. It provides a fillable blueprint. You can download it from benreinberg.com. And it's going to help you create a step-by-step plan to tailor it to your goals, tolerance, and time horizon. And it's just proven tactics where other asset classes can't compete. And the book distills this at that work. And so one of the things that I want everyone to know is building a hard asset empire is not for the faint of heart. It's hard work. You have to roll up your sleeves. You have to take risks. You're going to have to learn how to control your emotions. I talk about this book at the last chapter in the book. I talk about mindset. I talk about what happens when you're building a hard asset empire. What happens when people let you down your resources? How do you get back up off the mat and keep pushing forward? And I talk about this stuff. And when you can do this, you can control and create security in your financial freedom. And at the end of the day, we all want a peace of mind. And so if the goal is we want a peace of mind, Mike, if there's nothing better than building your own hard asset empire and the ability to take control of your life. So if you're out there listening and you're feeling uncertain about your financial future, or just download the blueprint, take a look at it. I made it very affordable. The coursework is extremely affordable. Bring it to life. There's 4 classes: core foundation, incremental growth assets, legacy and vision planning, and advanced strategies. It's all ways for you to build wealth, protect it, retain it, compound it, and take your life to another level. And that's what I wanted to do for everyone.
Yeah, I love that, Ben. And you're talking about being able to weather economic storms and just different things like that. Now, you've been doing this for 32 years, right? So obviously you had to weather 2008 timeframe, especially in real estate, how devastating that was. So what are some things that you saw that helped you get through that period of time?
I love this question because it resonates with me. I learned in life, and I had a friend who worked for Sam Zell pull me aside and said, no more signing with recourse on loans. It's all non-recourse. If you have to create less leverage, don't over leverage properties. That was another lesson. When I was younger, we maybe get some mezz debt as well as a senior piece and be at 85 LTV across board, a lot of leverage. I realized don't do that. So we don't. We're usually 60, 65 LTV on deals. We put a lot of equity in our deals. And I'd rather pay a lower return to investors and protect the asset, protect the investor's capital, than generate some obnoxious return that has a lot of risk.
Yeah, I think that's something I've seen that was very common during COVID, especially in the multifamily side. There was a lot of people advertising these ridiculous returns, like these rate of returns that were 22 to 25%, just absolutely insane. The people that I stuck with were the ones that had the more conservative returns. And guess what? I still wound up getting close to 20% with them. But I look at the people that are more conservative with their underwriting, that are not risk adverse, but mindful of the risk that they're getting into. Because I could tell you, you remember when that lumber shortage happened a couple years ago, we had an apartment building in Virginia that was 102 units that was getting renovated. And we wound up getting stuck for months without being able to get the lumber that we needed. So that became something that we had to eat. But at the same time, the only thing, we didn't have to do a capital call or anything like that. The only thing was there was just maybe 2 or 3 months where there wasn't a payout. They underwrote the numbers so conservatively that we were able to weather that with something that simple. Where I know other teams that have been in similar situations have had to do capital calls, and they're asking their investors for more money, and it becomes a mess. And when you start doing that stuff, it does get very messy. So I'm very thankful for the operators that I work with. They've been fantastic. So I really feel like if you're going to get into anything like that, and something I harp about to my listeners is, you know, if you're going to invest with a team, vet them, look at their history, look at what they've done. You're a perfect example. 32 years of doing this and weathered many storms. You can look at stuff that Ben's been doing, and it sounds like the blueprint's going to set you up for success. So I feel like that's pretty awesome. So you said you can get that right off your website, right?
You can get the blueprint right up on our website. You can order the book on the website. Amazon, Barnes and Noble has the book. And here's what you're going to learn. You're going to learn resilient cash flow strategies. You can learn how to invest. Yep. Resilient is a key word. Investing in stable market opportunities and personalizing and building your own hard asset empire blueprint. And so for people out there that want to change their life and want to see how it works with someone that's been there and done that, that's what I'm offering. And so I didn't have to write the book, but I did for you because I figured we've been asked so many times, and we said, why not put it out there and let people grow and learn? And it's been great. It's been a great book, huge feedback. And I want everyone to know that empires are not built overnight. They're just not. But if you have the right blueprint and the right structure, it's inevitable. And you got to keep pushing forward. You have to, Mike, show up. You have to do the work. You have to be disciplined. And I talk about this all in the book. I make it this holistic approach where you can dive in and say, okay. And the thing is, I give war stories. I talk about deals that maybe didn't go so well. So you could, and then I'll rip out the lesson from it. And so then everyone is on a higher learning curve. Like, for example, don't over leverage properties. So have the ability to
That was
both.
something I wanted to ask you about, right? Since you said that you talk about war stories, right? You had mentioned earlier about how over your 32 years, you've seen several shifts, right, in real estate and just the demographics about it, right? And where people are working out of, whether they're working from home or they're in an office space, right? And you've been through all these different shifts over time. And you kind of see where we're at right now, where people are wanting to return to the office space. So do you feel like right now is like an opportunity to really focus down and really niche down on commercial real estate?
Yeah, I do. Again, it goes to hard assets. Commercial real estate is one of the best hard assets out there. It's why people are flocking to invest in Alliance Medical Fund. You know, a lot of people that want to invest passively, they don't want to get in the weeds on commercial real estate. They want to invest and they want to diversify their capital. So what are they doing? They invest passively with us, which is great because then they invest passively like, hey, I want to do this on my own, or I see how challenging it is. I want to invest with Alliance, or I'm going to do it on my own. And they'll go on the learning curve with us. But at the end of the day, Mike, more and more people are flocking to commercial real estate. The tax benefits are tremendous, just absolutely spectacular with cost segregation studies, and bonus depreciation is a wonderful thing.
Do you see anything changing now with any laws that's going to help with advanced depreciation, with how it had changed over the last 5 years, right? Where it's been consistently getting lower and lower and lower of what you can actually claim. Do you see that change coming in the future?
Yeah, now it's 100%. It's back at 100% now that the big, beautiful bill was passed.
I wasn't following that it was in that bill.
No, we dissected that bill. It's 100% now.
Wow. Okay.
And it's back. And with bonus depreciation, tax benefits are tremendous for commercial real estate. We're doing cost segregation studies. We have cash flowing properties in the Alliance Medical Fund, and they're generating negative millions of dollars in savings to our investors. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's insane.
Wouldn't that be nice? Everyone listening, I'm going to pay you cash every quarter, and then you're not going to you'll have tax benefits to offset other passive investments. So you don't have to pay tax. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So speaking of buying these assets, right, there are always other things that come up, right? So what are some things people need to be thinking about, different costs that might be associated with buying a piece of commercial real estate?
Well, you got to look at taxes, property taxes. You got to look at insurance rates. You have to build a good team of people, good resources, commercial real estate attorney. You have to align yourself with good lenders, good appraisers, insurance agents, different types of attorneys, good accountants. We have all of that. It's taking years to build that platform. So you got to start building platform resources.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Got to have a team built out or work with Alliance.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Hey, Ben, I feel like there's been a lot of value added from just the chat that we've had so far. I'd like to take this time now and transition into something I call the final round. It's where I'm going to ask you the same 4 questions I ask everybody that comes on the show. Gives us a little bit of an idea of how you are under a little bit of pressure, but it's really not that bad at all.
Look forward to it.
All right, here we go. Ben, the first question of the final round is, what's the biggest mistake that you've ever made when it comes to your finances or business life?
Over leveraging a property and having the economy turn on and the value drops. And then you got to get into a workout mode. Yeah.
That was definitely a big lesson learned, I think, for a lot of people back then. I told you, I was talking to you a little bit about before we hit record about when I bought my first real estate property was in 2007, and it left a bad taste in my mouth after that. So I kind of stepped away for a while. I think it is very important that you don't over leverage and that you actually pay attention to what you actually have on the back end. How much cash do you have left and all that. So I think that's, definitely a big lesson learned for you there. But speaking of lessons learned, this next question, you're going to see these kind of tie into each other. And that is, what is something that you've learned that you wish you knew when you first started out?
No, it's a good question. I would say personal development. If I knew how to work on myself and manage my emotions when I was younger, oh, what a big change that would be.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. I need some of that right now. No, I appreciate that. Okay. So Ben, the next question is, do you have any tips or tricks that you would recommend to someone that is just getting started today?
I do. I would say if you're getting involved in commercial real estate, or any type of real estate, start locally and then regionally. Don't start going to a market far away because all your resources are close to you. And you can have face-to-face meetings with all these people. It's a huge advantage. So start locally and regionally.
Yeah, I love that. Start in your backyard,
Yep.
network, go to different real estate events, go meet
Yeah.
people. I think that's huge. Yeah, definitely you want to build on that. So
Absolutely.
awesome. So man, we're knocking through this fast. All right, Ben. So the final question of the final round, and I'm going to preface this with, besides your own, do you have a favorite business, investing, or real estate related book or podcast?
Well, Rich Dad Poor Dad and Sharon Lecter has written my forward to my book behind me, Hard Assets and Hard Life. So talk about a full circle. The story was about her. She was co-author of the book. She was on my show. And then next thing you know, she is writing the forward to my book. And so she inspired me to get it. But I would say that would be one book. And I'll tell you, my TV show, I Own It, is really cool because we stop the camera and I do a lot of educating. And that's a really good podcast or show for people to listen to. If you're learning to grow in business, that's what it's about. And so we do a lot of helping for people and teaching. So those are two of my favorites.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. All right. Hey, Ben, that's it for the final round, but that's not all the questions I have for you because like I said before we started the final round, I feel like you've definitely given a lot of value, lots of great golden nuggets and some good wisdom for our listeners. And now for those that are listening that are wanting to know more, that's what we want to know. So where can we find more information about you? I know you already mentioned the website, but let's talk about it again. And then do you have any social media profiles we can follow?
Sure.
And I believe you mentioned we could buy your book on Amazon and on your website. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you go to benreinberg.com, you can go and ask questions. You can invest with us. You can take the classes under Alliance Academy. We have tons of classes. You can buy the book. You follow me on social media platforms, all connected to my website. I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and we have a large following, Facebook. And for my company, if you want to invest, go to alliancecgc.com. That's alliancecgc.com. We'll show you how you can invest in commercial real estate with us and make a tremendous amount of money as well and get on the line quickly. So we have a lot of cred investors. We'll qualify you, we'll interview you, and we have a lot of people that are coming into the Alliance.
Awesome. Awesome. So listeners, you know the deal. I'm going to put that link in the show notes. I'm going to make it easy for you to find Ben and find his book and everything that he's talking about, his social media. The only thing I ask, and you guys know the deal, don't do it if you're driving right now. Wait till you're in a safe place. All right, Ben, to close things out, is there any final thoughts that you have for our listeners today?
I would say go out there and pull the trigger. Go out there and try and take action, put your interests aside and focus on what you want to achieve.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Taking action, the most important step out of anything you can do. So Ben, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me and the audience. I feel like, again, like I said before, lots of great golden nuggets and a lot of value added, I believe, just from this conversation that we had. So again, thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was great seeing you, Mike, and I wish you all the best. And mahalo, as we say.
Yeah, mahalo. I appreciate it. And also, I want to give a big mahalo to all of our listeners. And I want to thank you all so much for joining me and our special guest, Ben Reinberg, on the Average Joe Finances podcast today. Go leave us a 5-star review and tell us what you liked about this episode with Ben. Aloha from Hawaii, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you for making it to the end of this episode. Greatly appreciate you being here with me today on the Average Joe Finances podcast. If you haven't done so yet, make this the episode that you go leave us a 5-star rating or subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Average Joe Finances podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Have an outstanding day.